Jeanny, what more do we know at this point?
So far, what we know is like they have run through like at least 2 rounds of consultation with the government. Aiming to launch a stabilization fund. It's going to be like hundreds of billions of yuan, so which is like a relatively smaller scale versus the fund that has been put out to rescue the market back in 2015, which was about like 3 trillion yuan in total. So we are like there is a chance that this plan can be scrapped, and we've been hearing a lot of voices from economists, hedge funds, or the market watchers, calling for such a stabilization fund because of the market crash in China. But still, like on the sentiment side, it's gonna help a little bit. But still, like all the data dump we've seen this morning, we've seen the CPI. It's still at risk of deflation in China. So the economic figures are not really helping the sentiment so far. So we are still waiting for a recovery sign of the Chinese economy.
So ultimately, Jeanny, what we have is in prospect the trade numbers. You just mentioned inflation. I mean, it doesn't bode well, actually, this plan for these numbers, but we don't know them yet. It gives a sense here of what the data is telling you and how it's informing the authorities there in China to take these measures right now, because we wanted a big bazooka. We haven't got it yet, and the thing is, can they afford it?
Yeah, I wish I have the crystal ball, but so on the one hand, you see the Chinese government, they really want to flash the signal that the Beijing would not tolerate such like a weak market going forward. On the one hand, they have the sovereign fund purchased yesterday of all the state-owned banks, and today we have this stabilization fund prospect. They've been doing, at least we know that they've been doing rounds of consultation, even though it's not finalized yet. So we've seen some determination from the government. So I think that at least on sentiment-wise, investors may feel a little bit more relaxed about where the bottom is for the market. Although we may not see a huge rally in the near term, which is like, to me, it's a little bit unlikely. But still, like, that's going to help the sentiment.
Jeanny, do we know what this fund could be buying? I mean, obviously the first round was banks. Could this broaden out
and
to
how
other
much in total as well, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think if the 2015 was an example, was something that the government referred to, it's not just limited to banks. It can go beyond to even like privately owned companies, those like industry leaders in every industry. That could be some of their targets, not just the members, for example, on the SEC 50 index, which is the gauge tracking the biggest state-owned banks and all the companies. I think it can go beyond that.